Okay, so this is day 66 of being housed. I'm just on my way to go purchase some groceries and excited to share with you guys what I'm going to purchase. But I have two things I want to share, two positive things, two uplifting things. So the first one is I've been receiving comments from people, so I'll share the last one. So when I was going to the church yesterday, the young woman that greets everybody at the door, very kind and nice young woman, but she shared with me, she said, have you been losing weight? I said, yes, I have. And she said, I noticed that a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to make sure I pointed it out to you. She's like, you look really good. And I said, thank you so much. And so others have noticed that too. And the first thing I want to share is it's important for me to always remain humble. Meaning, if I I receive a compliment, I never want it to inflate my mind. And in the past, I could become very arrogant and very inflated easily. And once I become arrogant and inflated, all of a sudden I take on a bravado and a different attitude, an attitude that I don't agree with and that I don't like, and that doesn't represent like who I am. And I've learned that to work hard in private and then allow God to reveal you and your character to people out in public. So I want to honor God with everything I do, and do it to His glory in private. And and then if I receive any compliments or people start noticing the fruit of those, the things that have been done in secret or in private, I want to be able to receive them with a heart of gratitude, but also a heart of humility. So I'm just very thankful, but I also I just kind of forget about it right away, because I never want it to inflate me and then build me up. Because if I allow those things to build me up, oh goodness, that means a word can tear me down. I just want to continue with what I've been doing. And I also want to share the realistic version of what I've been doing. I started when it was back in 2021. I tried to run around a block, and I mean, I probably would have called it a 10-minute jog. It wouldn't have been a 10-minute jog. It was probably on the better part of like a 3-minute jog. I couldn't do it. My ankles hurt. I was I was carrying a lot of extra weight, but my ankles and my joints, they really hurt, and my calves would fill with lactic acids, and they would tighten up and cramp up. And so I started just with what I could do. I started walking and pushing myself a little bit more, and then when I could walk, and then also learning how to stretch and making that a priority. And then I went to jogging, and then to I call it sprinting now, but it's like a quick jog. But everything's been small and tiny increments. And also with the change of diet, it's just the way I eat. It's really taken a long time to get to where I'm at, and there's been a lot of investigation, a lot of trial and error, a lot of what food, like talking with people that are that are getting the results I desire to get, and that are very knowledgeable in the things that they're sharing, and then but also trying these things and seeing what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what works for my body type, what doesn't work for my body type, how do I feel, what's my energy like, after I eat this or when I eat that, etc. So this has been 4 years, and but I want to keep kind of like a train. I want to keep building momentum and more momentum and more momentum. So I'm very appreciative of any compliments, but I'm going to stick with what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep growing, keep intensifying what I'm doing, and keep improving and purifying. So that's my approach, and that's my attitude. But it starts with humility. It starts with humbling myself, and always remembering I came from a position where I could barely walk around the block, and it was terrible being there. And I don't ever want to go back. And part of not going back is to continually move towards the vision. Okay, the second thing I want to share, and this is a win, and it might seem like a minor win, but I think you'll understand after I share it. the owner's mother this morning. So this morning when I awoke, I had the window open. It's quite cold. And so I shut the window, and I was thinking, oh, there's a possibility the owner's mother might come through my room and check the window. And but anyhow, I closed the window. It needs to be closed. It's quite cold, but there's 2 smokers in the house, and I don't smoke, so I will be opening the window to vent out, like to clear the air. Anyhow, I was going down the stairs, and I seen her, and then she stopped. Like, she didn't stop me, she just stopped, and she looked at me, and she said, hey, when are you going to close the window upstairs? And I said, oh. And she said it just like that, in like a very polite and just inquisitive way. And I said, oh, yeah, I had it open last night. It was quite cold, and I closed it this morning. And yeah, and she's like, oh yeah, I was thinking, like, because it is getting really cold out there. And she's like, do you need another blanket? And I was like, well, I'm okay for now. And she's like, if you do, just let me know. And I said, okay, I appreciate that. It was a very, very pleasant conversation, and that was, something that was on her heart to communicate to me, and she has every right to be able to communicate that to me. And I'm more than happy to share. I'm more than happy to. I desire to contribute, like, while I'm there, and to do the best I can to be a good roommate to both of them, and to be an honest roommate, and a caring roommate, and a considerate roommate. And I found her just talking to me like this is a major improvement. And I want to make sure that I note that. It's easy to point out when people are behavioral issues are we're say lacking, for a better word. But it's also really wise to know when people when they make steps, positive steps forward, and they change, or they express like a different side of them. I always want to make sure that I give people lots of room to grow. So I don't want to shrink back or to tolerate like poor behavior. I want that I will deal with that right away and establish boundaries. But at the same time, I always want to make sure that I allow people to grow, just as I appreciate when people allow me to learn from my mistakes and grow as well. So anyway, so that just happened this morning. Again, it is day 66. It is Monday, October the 21st, I believe, or the 20th. Anyways, yeah, and I'm just here at the grocery store. I'm excited to share with you guys the groceries. I just need a few with the groceries I'm going to purchase, and yeah, happy to have you along.